Welcome to the Armani Talks YouTube channel. I'm your host, Armani Talks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills in order to help you level up your way with words and become much more articulate. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to stay updated for future videos by hitting the subscribe button right on below, hit that bell notification, and never miss another video again. In today's episode, we're going to be breaking down how to learn like Da Vinci. It was Eric Hoffer who once said, "In times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists." Intuitively, I believe we all know this to be true. But intellectually, very few people are acting it out to be true. Roughly around 2005, I recall whenever I would come back from school, your boy had a routine. And the routine was to watch King of Queens, Everybody Loves Raymond, and Seinfeld. I chose those particular shows because in the time slot, there were other shows that didn't interest me. Dr. Phil, Oprah, the news. Ain't no one trying to watch that. I'll try to have some fun. I want to laugh. So I watched those three shows. But nowadays, let's say I come back from school. I have way more options. I could watch those three shows, but I'm not reliant upon what the TV is showing me. I can now participate with the TV and surf the internet, go on Netflix, go on Hulu. You catch the drift. So we're seeing firsthand that the world is changing. Therefore, we must learn. And this is where the homie Leonardo da Vinci comes into the mix. This man was a polymath. He wasn't just smart in one field, he was smart in many fields. And this is what allowed him to be an interesting personality. This channel discusses communication skills, and one of the best ways to become a better communicator is by cultivating an interesting personality. We're not relying on tests. Our goal is to become a personality-based polymath. A person who develops supreme knowledge in multiple fields by pursuing our genuine curiosities. In this video, you're going to learn 3 basic qualities that Da Vinci had that you too can apply so you become a supercharged learner. If you're ready and excited for today's talk, go on and drop that like for me right on below. IQ, EQ, FQ, TQ, all these different tests are coming out nowadays. IQ is one of the most important ones from general perception, intelligence quotient. Another one that people are playing around with nowadays is called EQ, emotional quotient. And as this is being introduced, more people are like, no, this is fake. You can't fully measure that. Well, then the third one is really going to shock you. This one is called CQ, curiosity quotient. Da Vinci was someone who was profound in terms of his curiosity quotient. He was curious about anything. A part of him wanted to understand how the eyes of a bird functioned. And he didn't just stop at the curiosity in itself. He tried to understand the curiosity on a deeper level by analyzing birds or by analyzing the studies of people who dealt with birds. Curiosity quotient is something that cannot be fully measured by an exam. But then again, how many things can really be measured by an exam? There's so many people out there that are like, well, if there's not evidence and exams on it, then I'm not going to take it seriously. And therefore, these people have shown that they are learned individuals. Learners have that spirit of curiosity fueling all of their knowledge acquisition. So be like Da Vinci and level up your CQ by being cognizant of what makes you curious. There's no such thing as a good curiosity or a bad curiosity for right now. Just see what makes you curious. That's number 1. Number 2 is grit. Have you ever seen some of Da Vinci's paintings? Doesn't it look super realistic? Doesn't it seem like he knew something back then that a lot of the other painters didn't know? He did. See, for a while in Da Vinci's career, what he was doing was he was dissecting dead bodies. He wanted to understand how the anatomy of a human worked. How many other painters do you think were doing what Da Vinci was doing? Very few. They didn't have the grit like Da Vinci did. It's because Da Vinci had number one, which was CQ, which fueled his grit. And due to the grit, he was able to accumulate certain experiences that others could not accumulate within his field. And this allowed him to get the knowledge from the dead bodies to understand how the human was structured. And this made it much easier for him to create the paintings, which seemed so realistic. So this is something that you want to incorporate into your life as well. Are you someone that's showing grit? Are you someone who is factoring in experiences above theory alone? It's not like that theory is an enemy, but the theory will never fully come alive without raw experience that is built from grit. That's number two. And the third one is what I call artistic engineering. Nowadays, there's this misconception that artists and engineers are in two completely different fields. The reason why this misconception happens is due to a field getting diluted. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're this upcoming writer and you're so upcoming to a point where you haven't had that successful book yet. So you don't really got money like that. So what do? You write your own books and you edit your own books. Thus far, you are the storyteller and the editor. You keep hustling year after year after year, and one year, one of your books takes off. You are officially a multi-millionaire, and nowadays, you're still the storyteller, you still create the book, but you don't really have the time or the patience to edit and proofread your own work, so you outsource it. Now, if someone is coming up to you and asking you, is a storyteller and an editor fundamentally different? You, remembering your past, should be able to say, no, these are two people that are the exact same. However, let's say you have amnesia for some reason, you don't remember your past, you just remember your present day moment, then you will incorrectly state that fundamentally a storyteller and editor are different. That's what's happening nowadays. Plenty of people are not understanding that art and engineering are meant to work together. And to prime your mind like Da Vinci to become an artistic engineer, you want to just look at my palms real quick. What do you see right now? One group is going to say palms. Another group is going to say fingers. Both groups are correct. But what you want to do as an artistic engineer is first see the entire picture, which is the palms, and then you want to zone in like an engineer and see the fingers. View the big picture first and then zone in. That's artistic engineering. Keep training your mind to look for the big and the small, big and the small. When you go into your living room, for example, are you seeing individually the TV, the couch, the chairs first? No. Instead, you are seeing the living room first and then you're zoning in on the little details. Thinking like this supercharges your learning because you're able to accumulate the bigger picture first over time and then you're able to zone in on what's important. This is something that Da Vinci was great in terms of doing. So those are the three qualities that will help you learn like Da Vinci. Curiosity, grit, and cultivating the paradigm of an artistic engineer. Use these three qualities and I guarantee you, you'll be able to learn like a supercharged winner and you will become the Da Vinci of your own lane. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to drop that like right on below and share this video on your social media of choice. Thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel and I'll catch you on the next episode.